Did you know that the color seen when opening your eyes in a dark room is called Eigengrau? Fascinating, isn't it? Well, buckle up. We have a lot more to share. In the midst of our daily routines, we often overlook the extraordinary elements of life that are hidden in plain sight, such as the fact that when you open your eyes in a pitch-black room, the color you perceive isn't pure black, but a slightly lighter shade known as Eigengrau. This hue, also referred to as brain grey, is an intrinsic property of the visual system when deprived of light. As we step outside, we are greeted by another hidden wonder. Have you ever paused to relish the distinctive aroma that fills the air after a fresh rain? This scent, so familiar yet so elusive, has a name: petrichor. Coined by two Australian scientists in the 1960s, petrichor is the earthy scent produced when rain falls on dry soil. It's a reminder of nature's cycle and the life-giving power of water. But it's not just the world around us that holds surprises. Our own bodies are a marvel of nature. Did you know that we are more microbial than human? In fact, 90% of the cells in our bodies are composed of microbes. These tiny organisms, invisible to the naked eye, play an indispensable role in our health and well-being, from aiding digestion to fortifying our immune system. As we journey through life, we come across countless phenomena, each with its own story and significance. The world is brimming with facts and mysteries waiting to be discovered. Whether it's the color of darkness, the scent of rain, or the microscopic world within us, there's always something intriguing to learn. Life is full of surprises, isn't it? Stay with us as we dive into more facts about health, history, and science. Did you know that sleeping in a 66-degree room can increase your fat-burning ability? Yes, indeed, a cooler sleeping environment can have fantastic health benefits, including improved metabolism. It's one of the many fascinating health facts we'll explore today. Let's dive into the world of microbes. You might think you're alone, but actually you're a walking ecosystem. An astounding 90% of the cells in your body are composed of microbes, many of them beneficial. They help us digest food, fight off harmful bacteria, and even influence our mood. So next time you reach for that hand sanitizer, remember, not all bacteria are bad guys. Speaking of small creatures, did you know your face is inhabited by microscopic mites? Yes, it sounds a bit creepy, but these tiny tenants are mostly harmless, living in our hair follicles and feeding on our natural skin oils. They're just another reminder of the complex world that exists right under our noses, quite literally. Now let's talk about the potential health impacts of faking happiness. It might seem harmless, even necessary at times, but pretending to be happy when you're not can lead to long-term health effects. It can increase stress, lead to burnout, and even contribute to depression. So, it's important to find healthy ways to express and manage our emotions. Moving on, have you ever found yourself craving ice? This could be more than just a quirky habit. Craving ice, or pagophagia, can be a sign of anemia, a condition where your body lacks enough healthy red blood cells to carry adequate oxygen to your tissues. If you find yourself reaching for the ice tray more often than usual, it might be time to check in with your doctor. And finally, here's a fact that could save your life. If you ever experience symptoms of a heart attack, taking an aspirin can be life-saving. It helps prevent blood clots from forming and blocking your arteries, buying you precious time to get medical help. However, remember, it's not a substitute for emergency medical care. Taking care of our health is crucial, and knowing these facts can help us make better choices. But life isn't just about health, so let's move on to some historical facts. Do you know where the name Jessica comes from? It was first mentioned in Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice. Let's delve into more historical facts. In the realm of fashion, did you know that high heels were initially designed for men? That's right, these fashionable accessories were originally created for Persian horse riders. The heel helped to secure their feet in the stirrups during horse riding. It was only later that heels became a fashion statement and were eventually adopted by women. Here's another historical tidbit. The name Jessica, so common today, was not always so. The name Jessica was first introduced to the world by William Shakespeare in his play, The Merchant of Venice. That's right, one of the most popular names for girls was coined by none other than the bard himself. Now, let's take a step back in time to the Victorian era, a time known for its strict societal norms and elaborate mourning rituals. There was a rare phenomenon known as a coffin birth, which occurred when a pregnant woman, after death, would expel the fetus due to the buildup of gases in her body. It's a macabre fact, but a part of our human history nonetheless. Speaking of history, let's talk about the deadliest epidemic to hit the United States. This pandemic surpassed the number of deaths from the 1918 flu and all US military deaths in major wars. The high death rate was attributed to the fractured culture, which prioritized personal freedom over public health measures. Moving on to a lighter note, let's talk about the world of sports and entertainment. The movie Air, directed by Ben Affleck, tells the story of how Nike signed Michael Jordan. However, the movie takes liberties with the actual events and jumbles some facts. For instance, the timeline of Nike's acquisition of Converse and the existence of certain corporate documents are misrepresented. And finally, let's discuss the world of finance. Did you know that the typical millionaire's investment portfolio is made up of 70% stocks, 30% bonds, and less than $100,000 in cash? This is based on the portfolio breakdown of real-life millionaire clients as shared by financial advisors. History is fascinating, isn't it? It gives us a glimpse into the past. But let's come back to the present and take a look at some scientific facts. Did you know that our faces are inhabited by microscopic mites? Yes, you heard it right. These tiny creatures, called Demodex mites, live in our hair follicles, particularly around the nose, eyebrows and eyelashes. Although they might sound like the stuff of nightmares, they are usually harmless and are just one of the many organisms that make up our body's ecosystem. Now, let's delve into the fascinating world of our teeth. Believe it or not, our baby teeth are actually made of cartilage before they become calcified into the hard teeth we know. Just like sharks, humans start developing their teeth as soft cartilage. As we grow, this cartilage is replaced by hard tissue, so when you were a baby, you had a mouthful of future teeth waiting just under the surface of your gums. Our brains are another source of endless fascination. One intriguing fact is that the size of a certain part of our brain, the orbitomedial prefrontal cortex, can actually predict the size of a person's social circle. Researchers have found that people with a larger orbitomedial prefrontal cortex tend to have more friends. This part of our brain is thought to be involved in decision-making, particularly in situations that involve reward or punishment. So, it seems that being popular might have more to do with our brains than our personalities. And how about this, for a mind-boggling fact? 90% of the cells in our bodies are composed of microbes. These include bacteria, viruses and fungi that live on or within us. Most of these microbes are beneficial and play crucial roles in functions such as digestion and immunity. They even impact our mood and mental health. So, while it might be strange to think about we are more microbe than human, lastly, let's talk about colour. The colour you see when you open your eyes in a completely dark room is not black, as you might think. It's actually a specific shade of dark grey that's been given the name Eigengrau. This term is German for intrinsic grey, and it's the colour your eyes see in perfect darkness due to signals from the optic nerves. Science never ceases to amaze us, does it? But let's switch gears and look at some practical life tips. Did you know a mixture of dish soap, peroxide and baking soda can remove skunk spray odour? Let's uncover more practical life tips. Imagine you're out on a peaceful evening stroll and suddenly you're met with the pungent aroma of a startled skunk. Fear not, for the solution is simpler than you might think. Just whip up a concoction of dish soap, peroxide and baking soda and voila! You've got a home remedy to combat that notoriously stubborn odour. It's a practical tip that could save your evening and perhaps your nose. Now let's move on to something we've all faced at some point, the dreaded task of sharing an important document. Whether it's an application, a report or even a simple email, the importance of running a manual spell check before sharing cannot be overstated. Yes, we've all got spell check on our devices, but it's not infallible. A keen eye can catch those tricky homonyms or awkward phrasing that technology might miss. So remember, a quick read-through can save you from potential embarrassment. Let's dive into a bit of mathematics, but don't worry, this one's easy. Picture this, you're at a restaurant, the food was fantastic, the service impeccable, and now it's time to tip. But how much is 20%? No need to pull out your phone calculator. Here's a quick trick. Move the decimal point in your total one place to the left and double the number. For example, if your bill is $50, moving the decimal gives you $5. Doubling that gives you a $10 tip. It's a simple but effective way to ensure you're tipping appropriately. Speaking of restaurants, here's a bonus tip. If you're out dining with friends and the waiter brings the bill, instead of wrestling with math and trying to split it evenly, simply ask for separate checks. It saves time, and no one ends up feeling shortchanged. These practical tips can make life a little easier, don't you think? Now let's wrap things up. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've delved into intriguing facts about life, explored health facts that could potentially save lives, and touched on historical facts that have shaped our world. We've dived into the realm of science and its fascinating truths, and shared practical life tips that could make your everyday life a tad bit easier. From the surprising fact that the cotton ball in pill bottles is meant to be removed, to the revelation that the smell after rain has a name, petrichor, we've learned the importance of running a manual spell check before sharing important documents, and discovered that high heels were originally designed for men. Quite the fashion twist, isn't it? We've understood that our social networks and the size of our orbitomedial prefrontal cortex could be linked. And more importantly, that prioritizing life over personal freedom is a cultural shift we need to embrace. And let's not forget the practical tips for removing skunk spray odor, or the fact that yawning approximately 250,000 times in a lifetime is a thing. We hope you've enjoyed these facts about life as much as we have. Remember, life is full of surprises, and there's always something new to learn. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep living life to the fullest.